Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. What you're looking at is the names of the Bible, the different books in the Bible. And as you can see here, you have, this is the Old Testament. Then down here you have the New Testament. And in the center you have the Apocrypha. Okay, now the word Apocrypha, apo, means to send. And krypha, when you get the word crypt, is hidden, to send hidden. And that's what happened. They sent these books hidden. They took them out of the Bible on purpose. And the main group, one of the main groups that did this was the Biblical Destruction Group, which, a few people spoke on. And one of the main guys that speaks on that particular group is a man by the name of Rabbi Marvin Antelman, which wrote a book, something about the oviate. I can't remember the exact name of the book, but I can pull it up, and there's been other people that have spoken of the mischief pretty much that these people have done, these Edomites, through the international bankers and these different groups that they set up, which one of the groups that they set up were called the Frankists. They were called after this man. His last name was Frank. So they called them the Frankists, because they stem from another group of devils, the Sabbatai, which was a man by the name of Zevi Sabbatai, which proclaimed himself to be the Messiah back in 1666. And for the longest, these devils, they've been trying to discredit and destroy the Bible, because remember, prior to them coming into power during the time of the Renaissance, Jake was ruling. And Jake holds dear to the Bible because the Bible is true, because, Jake wrote the Bible. Israelites wrote the Bible, so that's why they reverenced it. And then when these devils got into power, the main thing they had to do was try to destroy it. So they accomplished, in 50 years, they accomplished to take the Apocrypha out of the Bible through the Biblical Destruction Group in 1826. That's when they finally got rid of the Apocrypha. But, it was still in certain books, so they took a process of time for them to fully get them out of all the Bibles. But they got the decree, so to speak, to get rid of them. So I have here something called neutralizing the opposition. Lord's will, I'll put the link in the description box so you brothers could check it out for yourselves. It says the conspiracy since the day of its founding has been to the avowed and vicious enemy of all true religions, the persecution of a true Christian in communist countries, and the setting up of phony churches presided over by secret police agents disguised as church officials, are known to all reasonably informed persons. And they have a scripture here, 1 Corinthians 14:8, for if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself for the battle, to the battle. And it is true, because there are a lot of things in the Apocrypha that show you things that are happening in this time right now that are very important to prophecy, and that's one of the main reasons they took it out. Another reason was they took it out was because it tells you that the 10 tribes came to a land where never mankind dwelt, and that doesn't tell you that in the regular Bible. It does tell you that they were brought out of their land, and they were going to lose their land, but it didn't give you like a description of where they actually went. But when you piece the puzzle together, line upon line, precept upon precept, here, they're little and they're little, you are able to piece the whole puzzle together if the Spirit of the Lord is with you. So now I want to jump down here where it says the first major move towards subverting Judaism, because the first thing that the devil did when they took over, that's why they called it the Renaissance, which the word Renaissance means to rebirth, was they had to destroy all the dark images that they had, and then they had to destroy all of the doctrine and the dogma and things of that nature that were being taught back then, because it was a thing that was being taught for the nation of Israel, the real Israelites. So they had to switch everything around to incorporate themselves in it. And in doing that, they had to destroy certain books that they deemed to be a threat, to bring the truth out and to expose them. Because another thing that they took, the reason why they took the Apocrypha out, is because it says that Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. And through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, we have found out who Esau is, which is a so-called white man. So there's a lot of secrets and mysteries in that book that they don't want to get out. It says, excuse me, The first major move towards subverting Judaism was made by Frankist Karl Anton, okay, who in 1776 organized the Biblical Destruction Group, a closed circuit of intellectuals whose main objective would be to destroy the Bible. This self-perpetuating group, with the aid of its conspiratorial connections, infiltrated its way into positions of prestige in some of the leading universities of Central Europe, and began what came to be known as the higher criticism. That's where you have a movement. That's where you have what's that? There's another term that they have for a higher criticism movement. It's free thinkers. You know, and the free thinkers, basically they've been brainwashed into believing that they control their own destiny, you know, and that they have to think outside of the box, you know, which, yeah, you do have to have your own mind. You have to think outside of the box in certain cases. But for the most part, the Bible is what guides us. You know, that's the power right there, you know, and that's why they fought so hard to try to destroy it. But the problem is, Yahweh Shai said that if it were possible, they would destroy they would deceive the very elect. But it's not possible because the very elect are sealed with the truth, and the truth is contained in the Bible. So they're fighting a losing battle, but they're only going to get the ones the Lord doesn't want. So this higher criticism movement, or this free thinker movement, you know, was all set up basically to cast doubt on the Bible, on the validity of the Bible. It says, stripped of its intellectual pretensions, the higher criticism movement has been nothing but a long-term chipping away, little by little, at the integrity of the Bible as the inspired word of the Most High, leading literally millions of both Jews and Christians to adopt or inherit a skeptical attitude toward the Bible. Its results have been devastating to Western civilization, and people have been moving away from the scriptures. But that's all right, because the elect are not. The elect are going to be drawn to the scriptures, because the elect are the ones that the Lord said they were going to be drawn by the word. Because right now, the ones that are being sealed, they're being sealed by the word. The book of James, the first chapter, says to receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your soul. You know? So now, I want to go, because, you know, this Bible landed in the hands of the devil, the so-called white man, when he took power. He's the one that's been printing and publishing them, you know, and he has the power and the money and the authority to be able to print the Bibles and all that. So ever since he took power or got into power, his main goal has been to destroy the Bible and the Apocrypha, you know, and the integrity of the scriptures, to make it just seem like just another book, you know. And that's what the Lord says this time, Psalms 50:16. But unto the wicked the Most High saith, what hast thou to do to declare my statutes, or that thou shouldest take my covenant in thy mouth? Why? Because here they'll say one thing. They'll say that this country is a God-fearing country, and God we trust. 1983 was considered the year of the Bible, you know, and the Bible is considered to be the book of the land, or the law of the land. But yet when you look at their legislation says the total opposite of what the Bible says. Seeing thou hatest instructions and castest my words behind thee. So they take the Bible, they make you swear in on it, they make the president swear in on it, but then they take it and cast it to the side. Because if you try to use the Bible in your defense, when you go to court or whatever, they're not going to listen to you, because it's not in their legislation. It has to be a part of their legislation in their jurisdiction for them to deal with it, and they're not dealing with it in that manner. All right. So now here, this is the Apocrypha. Like I said, Lord's will, I'll link these up in the description box. The Apocrypha is a selection of books which were published in the original 1611 King James Bible. These apocryphal books were positioned between the Old and New Testament. It also contained maps and genealogies. The Apocrypha was a part of the KJV for 274 years until being removed in 1885 AD. So now the Biblical Destruction Group in 1826, they were able to get the Apocrypha removed out of the Bible, but it took a process of time to get it out of all of the different Bibles. So they had to reprint everything and every version of the Bible and every so-called religion back then. So it took a process of time from the time that they actually were able to get rid of it until this particular time here, 1885. So by that point, there were no more Bibles with the Apocrypha in it. You know, although later on in the history, the Lord put the spirit on some of these devils to put it back in there, you know. It says a portion of these books were called Deutero Canonical books by some entities, such as the Catholic Church. Many claim the Apocrypha should never have been included in the first place, raising doubt about its validity and believing it was not the Most High inspired. For instance, a reference about magic seems inconsistent with the rest of the Bible, Tobit chapter 6, verses 5 to 8, which is total bullshit. When you go and read it, you can read it on your own. It has nothing to do with witchcraft. Others believe it is valid and that it should never have been removed, that it was considered part of the Bible for nearly 2,000 years before it was recently removed a little more than 100 years ago. So this book has been in the Bible since it was first written. So now 2,000 years later, plus or whatever, give or take, they take it out because they say that it's not valid. Some say it was removed because of not finding the books in the original Hebrew manuscripts. Others claim it wasn't removed by the church but by printers to cut costs in distributing Bibles in the United States. So they have their different theories or arguments of why they removed it, but we know why they removed it. Both sides tend to cite the same verses that warn against adding or subtracting from the Bible. Revelation 22:18. The word of Apocrypha means hidden, which really means to send hidden. Fragments of the Dead Sea Scrolls dating back to 70 AD contain parts of the Apocrypha books in Hebrew, including Sirach and Tobit. So you did have certain remnants of it that were in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It says, keep this in mind when reading the following apocryphal books. Martin Luther said Apocrypha, that is, books which are not regarded as equal to the Holy Scriptures and yet are profitable and good to read. King James Version defended, page 98. So pretty much, these devils, they're casting doubt because some people will say yay, some people will say nay, but at the end of the day, if you're part of the elect, you're going to go with what the scriptures say. Now, this is what the Lord said, Isaiah 44:25. The frustrated, I'm starting at 24. Isaiah 44:24. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh thy Redeemer, and he that formed thee from the womb. I am Yahweh that maketh all things, that stretcheth forth the heavens alone, that spreadeth abroad the earth by myself, that frustrateth the tokens of the liars. And lessons like this and the others that brothers have done, that prove that the Apocrypha is part of the Bible is the Lord's way of frustrating the tokens of the liars. Now, when you look up the word frustrateth, it comes from the Hebrew word parar. It's not coming up right now, but pretty much means to break, to frustrate, to cut, like basically to cut up tokens. Now it's not coming up. The devil, all of a sudden now it ain't coming up. It was just coming up a few minutes ago. But pretty much it says that frustrated the tokens of the liars and maketh diviners mad, that turneth wise men backward and maketh their knowledge foolish. And that's what's happening right now. The Lord is making the knowledge of these devils foolish. Now, we read over here that some of these books, some of the fragments include Sirach and Tobit in the actual Hebrew, right? And then what it's called Deutero Canonical books, all right? Deutero Canonical books, literally meaning a second principle, rule, or criterion, is a term used since the 16th century in the Catholic Church. That's something they called it, and Eastern Christianity, to describe certain books and passages of the Christian Old Testament that are not part of the current Hebrew Bible. So now, why didn't King James and Cassiodoro de Valera name it Deutero Canonical books? Because it wasn't called that until later on. Till the devil started getting into power in the Roman Catholic Church and other places, and other religions, and they called it Deutero Canonical books. It says the term is used in contrast to the proto-canonical books, which are contained in the Hebrew Bible. This distinction had previously contributed to the debate in the early church about whether they should be classified as canonical texts. All right, now we're going to jump down to the Dead Sea Scrolls. Fragments of 3 deuterocanonical books have been found among the Dead Sea Scrolls found at Qumran, in addition to several partial copies of Enoch and Jubilees from the Ethiopic Deutero Canon. Now those people that get into the book of Enoch and Jubilee and all that, they jumping up and down. But it says that these two particular books are found in the Ethiopian Deutero Canon. Now when you jump down to the Ethiopian Deutero Canon, I just want to do that real quick. It says in the Amharic Bible used by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, those books of the Old Testament that are still counted as canonical, but not by all other churches, just by them, are often set in a separate section titled Deutero Canonical, whatever, And then when you jump down here, it says, along with the books of Ezra and Prayer of Manasseh, it says, also includes some books that are still held canonical by only the Ethiopian church, including Enoch, right, and Jubilee, and 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Maccabean, which is not Maccabees, but a lot of people confuse it with being Maccabees, but it's another book. So the Ethiopian Orthodox Church considers these books, Enoch, Jubilee, and Maccabean, or 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Maccabean, to be canonical. Okay, I just want to go to that just to show you that. All right, so it says Sirach, whose Hebrew text was already known from the Cairo Geniza, has been found in 2 scrolls. These are Dead Sea Scrolls, in 2Q Sir, or 2Q18, and 11QPS _A, or 11Q5 in Hebrew. So you had books of the Bible and the Sirach that were found in the Hebrew text. So that other bullshit about that they couldn't find them in the Hebrew is dead. All right, another Hebrew scroll, and besides that, when Antiochus Epiphanes came into power, he burned a lot. He burned the books of the laws that were there. So he burned a lot of the actual text that they had, going back to that time and even before then. It says another Hebrew scroll, and also this devil Nebuchadnezzar also burned the temple and the books and records back then. Another Hebrew scroll of Sirach has been found in Masada. The book of Tobit has been found in Qumran in 4 scrolls written in Aramaic and in 1 written in Hebrew. The letter of Jeremiah, or Baruch chapter 6, has been found in Cave 7, Papyrus 7Q5 in Greek. Now this goes back 2,000 years ago. It has been theorized by recent scholars that the Qumran library of approximately 1,100 manuscripts found in the 11 caves of Qumran was not entirely produced at Qumran, but may have included part of the library of the Jerusalem temple that may have been hidden in the caves for safekeeping at the time the temple was destroyed by the Romans in 70 AD. All right. So now another scripture I want to hit you with is the book of John 10 and 22 in the New Testament, where it says, and it was at Jerusalem the feast of dedication, and it was winter. Now, I don't know if it's going to let me go to it, but the feast of dedication is Ekainia, which it's not letting me go. But when you go to it, it tells you that it was the actual feast that was set up by Judas Maccabees, after the cleansing of the temple, after the destruction of the temple at Jerusalem during the time of Antiochus Epiphanes. And there's many other scriptures in the Bible that prove that the Apocrypha is part of the Bible. That's just one out of many, And pretty much these devils, they got to go down, because everything that they do is nothing but lies. Sirach 25 and 2. 3 sorts of men my soul hateth, and I am greatly offended at their life. A poor man that is proud, a rich man that is a liar. And who's that rich man that is a liar? That's these international bankers. And they've been hard at work, man, for about 500 plus years. And they've been lying, murdering, conniving, twisting, burning, removing, everything on the planet, including the scriptures. They've been trying for the longest. Okay, so the Lord said through the mouth of Sirach, it says 3 sorts of men my soul hateth. It says, and I am greatly offended at their life. A poor man that is proud, a rich man that is a liar, and an old adulterer that doteth. But the one we're dealing with is a rich man that is a liar, and that's these international bankers. They're the ones that are liars, you know. And then, you know, when you go into the Spanish Bible, the Casiodoro de Valera, there's a man by the name of Dr. Lorenzo Lucena Pedrosa, and he was the one that removed the Apocrypha out of the Spanish Bible in 1862. Okay, it says, however, his greatest contribution to translations of Protestant Bibles in Castilian was his view of the Bear Bible, La Biblia del Oso, and Bible Croc, or La Biblia de Cantares, translated by Casiodoro de Reina and Cipriano de Valera, published in 1862. This is when Lorenzo Lucena did it. As old version of Cipriano de Valera, checked against various translations and revised in accordance with the original Hebrew and Greek, with giving birth to the version of the Bible that was later known as King James 1862. This version's main difference from those published by Reina and Valera, the omission of the Apocrypha or Deutero-Canonical books. So is considered by some as the first Protestant version as such in Spanish. So he was the one that was paid by these international bankers to remove the Apocrypha out of the Spanish Bible in 1862. And then we read over here, the Biblical Destruction Group got rid of it in 1826, but it took a process of time. And see, by 1885, they were all done. You know, they were all pretty much pulled out of those of the Bible, pretty much. You know, and this devil did it in 1862. You know, so all in the 1800s, they accomplished a diligent search, as the scriptures say, to destroy remove the Apocrypha out of the Bible. And that's why the Lord said this here. Let me see if this will come up. Proverbs 12:22, it says, lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but they that deal truly are his delight. And these devils do not deal truly. You know, that's why the Lord said he frustrated the counsel, he frustrated the tokens of the liars. And that's what's happening right now. So this has been pretty much the removal of the Apocrypha. You know, I've done lessons on it before, and other brothers have done lessons on it before, but I just wanted to just touch on it again, because we're coming to a critical time now where the Apocrypha is going to be one of the, you know, of course, the Bible, coupled with the Bible, of course, is going to be one of the main things that's going to be pushing out a lot of these prophecies that are happening right now, such as 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, and 2nd Ezra, the 16th chapter, which is coming to fruition, and that's going to be part of the knowledge and wisdom that's going to keep us stable in these times. You know, so with that, I hope you brothers learned something. Till the next time, I say shalom.